That RGT 85, he only talks about Nintendo Switch and retro video games. He has a PS4, why doesn't he talk about the PS4? He needs to talk about the PS4 more.
You guys want me to talk about the PS4? Look, I own a PS4. I've had one for like 2 or 3 years now, and I still play it a good bit. It's where I play Friday the 13th with my friends pretty regularly, so you'll see me on my PS4 a good bit. And honestly, 2018, I'll probably be giving my PS4 a lot more attention than I did in 2017 because there's a lot of awesome games coming to the system that I'm really looking forward to. So in this video, I wanted to highlight some of the games of 2018 coming to the PS4 that I'm really looking forward to playing. I think these are going to be excellent experiences, some of the best on the system, and I think it's just going to be a really good year for the PS4. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about some upcoming PS4 games in 2018 that I'm pretty stoked to play.
Hey, RGT85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my God, it's Stevie Richards! Alright, so let's get 2 of the heavy hitters out of the way. The 2 probably biggest games coming to the PS4 in 2018 that we know are more than likely coming to the system in 2018 and have been getting the most promotion. The first one, of course, is God of War. Now, I am an old school God of War fan. I love the first 3 games. I thought they were phenomenal games, and when I first saw what God of War on the PS4 looked like, honestly, I wasn't too thrilled about it. You know, it's that sort of Dad of War thing. They've really slowed down the gameplay, made it more of an interactive story experience, and really made it a story heavy driven game. There's still awesome combat in the game, but it's definitely much slower and much more refined than we saw in the sort of hack and slash game that looked more like a Ninja Gaiden. But I'm willing to keep an open mind on this game because I think the art style looks really good. It does use that sort of PS4 stock graphics set that a lot of people like to make memes about, but I do think it still looks like a fantastic game. I'm sure the writing will be really interesting, and I'm interested to know sort of this relationship between father and son. Does the father die? Does Kratos die sometime in the game and then you play as the son? It really seems like they're sort of switching it up and, you know, implementing something for a big plot twist in the middle of the game. I don't know, but I think the game does look really cool, and the fact that it has such a high pedigree of previous games coming into it, I'm definitely willing to give it a chance, even though it is a large departure from the games that I really loved in the series. Now, the second game is obviously another huge game. This is a licensed game, and that is Spider-Man. Now, I remember the days of awesome Spider-Man games. You know, the GameCube, the PS2, that's where the Spider-Man games really took off. You were swinging around in this open world, and it was like bam, 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 and Activision got a hold of it, and they were like, we're just gonna release game after game, bam, 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 and it was just like, you got so many Spider-Man games that everyone just got tired of it. There was so many Spider-Man games, games for the DS, games for the PSP, PS2, PS3. It was like, stop, I can only take so much Spider-Man. You can only do so much with this. And so Spider-Man has been taking a break, and it looks like this break is really worthwhile for the franchise. This game looks absolutely stunning, and I'm really interested to see how they use the power of the PS4 in this game. I think the graphics look great. I think the animation is very, very fluid, and I think it's going to lead to some very interesting and breathtaking scenarios within this Spider-Man game. We really haven't seen a next generation or current generation Spider-Man game in quite a while. It's pretty much just been building on that old engine for the past, you know, several years that's been around forever, and I'm really interested to see what they do with this Spider-Man game. Initial previews seem to be pretty positive of it, and really, I just wanted to talk about Spider-Man so I could say, Spider-Man takes a dump in a coffee can. That was the best Angry Video Game Nerd episode, but definitely Spider-Man. That's a game I'm going to be picking up day one. I love Spider-Man games, and it looks like they're taking it back to its roots, but making it modern, so I'm totally stoked on that game. The next game I want to talk about is a remaster. Yes, a remaster. RGT85 doesn't like remasters. I don't know where this mentality came from, because I do like remasters as long as they are priced accordingly and they offer a good value. And Shadow of the Colossus was just such a fantastic game on the PS2. Now, this also did release on the PS3, but honestly, I skipped it on the PS3. I'm not entirely sure why I did, but the PS4 version of the game looks really, really good. And the fact that it's priced at only only $40, it's definitely worth revisiting this game. It was such a unique game. It was such an interesting way to tell a story without really telling a story that the ending was just really breathtaking. And I'm really interested to see if they do anything to sort of tinker with the story and make it a little bit fresher for people that are veterans of the game. But Shadow of the Colossus just has such an interesting gameplay style, and you know, you're battling these huge beasts, and the beasts are like essentially puzzles, and you have to figure out how you can attack them. Just a riveting game, and I'm really happy to see it coming back to the PS4, because honestly, it's a game that they could re-release every generation, and I would be totally cool with it. It's just one of those games that's just timeless. It's one of those games that made such a big impact in gaming. So Shadow of the Colossus remake, it's definitely on my radar. At only $40, I think everyone with the PS4 should definitely pick up this game. Question: what is one of my favorite game franchises of all time? Answer: Shenmue. I love Shenmue. You could put me on a desert island with a Dreamcast in Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2, and I would be very happy. I would live for at least, I don't know, a year maybe, and just be very happy in that 1 year playing Shenmue, and then I would probably die of like lack of cigarettes and Diet Dr. Pepper. But Shenmue is just a fantastic franchise. And Shenmue 3, yes, I have made videos on Shenmue 3. I have been critical about Shenmue 3. I have been having that feeling that maybe we're gonna have Kickstarter letdown with Shenmue 3, and I still do feel that way. I'm not going to say that I don't, because Kickstarter just proves to me time and time again when it comes to games that there's always a level of disappointment. But I'm still excited for Shenmue 3 because it continues the story. It continues the legendary story that we never got a conclusion to. And the gameplay in Shenmue is just so awesome. You know, this open world aspect was really refined in Shenmue, the original game. There was nothing quite like it when it originally came out on the Dreamcast. And I fully expect Shenmue 3 to just be sort of a fan service. I don't think at this point they're gonna break the mold anymore. You know, Shenmue was such a monumental game in terms of breaking the mold that Shenmue 3 would have to do so many crazy things in order to break the mold once again. And maybe that's not the smart thing. Maybe the smart thing is to just pander to the Shenmue audience and, you know, recreate a sort of Shenmue-like experience just on a modern platform. So I've lowered my expectations on the game. I understand where the game is coming from more so than when I made my Shenmue rant video saying that I felt like a lot of people were going to be disappointed, because if they attack it just as fan service, I think I'll still be happy with the game. It is slated for release in 2018. I hope it comes out in 2018. I'm not really holding my breath though, but it is worth mentioning on this video because I just love Shenmue. The next game I want to talk about is a very story-driven game, sort of one of those quick-time event games. RGT, you don't like those games. You don't know me, man. I played Heavy Rain. I played it several times over. Yes, I don't think Heavy Rain is one of the greatest games of all time, but it still told a good story. I was still interested enough to play it from start to finish. It's still a very solid game, and Detroit Becoming Human, once again, looks like a very solid game. I love the aesthetics of the game. I love the sort of dark subject matter that they tackle, you know? It's very interesting to me that they're attacking dark subject matter in such a way because, you know, video games are sort of refined and they sort of hold back this sort of stuff because it's not viewed in the same light as movies, where a movie can do anything. A video game sort of has to hold itself back, and Detroit Becoming Human is one of the 2 games on this list that looks to really push the envelope in terms of content and subject matter. I think it's going to be a really fun game. It's going to be one of those games you can play through multiple times, and I really hope they include White Zombie's More Human Than Human, because it's Detroit Becoming Human. But if you become human, wouldn't you be more human than human? More human than human, more human than human. Shout out to White Zombie. I love White Zombie. But yeah, Detroit Becoming Human, it looks like a really cool game, and it's definitely a game that's on my radar. A series that I don't talk a lot about on this channel that I'm actually really into is the Earth Defense Force series. It's a super fun game. It's probably the most weeaboo thing I like. It's just really fun to be battling these huge monsters as like an infantry person or a person in a tank in these cityscapes. But Earth Defense Force Iron Rain actually looks like a game that's going to sort of shift away from the more comedic style of game and really implement more serious elements. The graphics look a lot less cartoony and more refined. It has more of an adult themed storyline, a more serious storyline. And honestly, I've never really been into the Earth Defense Force storylines. I don't care. Those games have always been about gameplay to me. So to see a more refined gameplay with a more serious tone, it could be a really good combination. It could actually make Earth Defense Force, you know, not this niche game anymore. It could make it a wide-scale game that a ton of people get into. And they really should, because Earth Defense Force is just fantastic. If you love big monsters in cities and having to take them down and aliens and giant ants and stuff, this is a series for you. It's so much fun, and I'm really interested to see how they take this more serious approach to the game. So I'm really looking forward to the new Earth Defense Force game. Hopefully it will release in the US in 2018. It's slated for a Japanese release in 2018. Another game that's definitely on my radar to pick up for the PS4 is, of course, Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's face it, Red Dead Redemption really took that Grand Theft Auto formula, threw it back into the cowboy times, and just really made it work. It was such a great deviation because you had so many GTA clones coming out that were taking place in either realistic environments or fake realistic environments that it sort of just watered down the experience. It got a little bit monotonous, a little bit boring. Taking it back to the Wild West, though, really was fresh and unique for the series on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And Red Dead Redemption 2 looks just like more of the same, and really expanding upon sort of the core gameplay elements and really making it this living, breathing Wild West. I'm really interested to see this game. It's definitely one of the top games on my radar for any console period in 2018, and I think it's just going to be a fantastic experience. At the end of the day, Rockstar makes open world games really, really well crafted, and I think this is going to be yet another example of it. You could sink tons and tons of hours into Red Dead Redemption, and I'm sure people are going to do that with Red Dead Redemption 2, so definitely a game high on my radar. Two games I want to mention very briefly before I get into the final game are Ghost of Tsushima, I believe it's pronounced, and Days Gone. Now, Ghost of Tsushima, I think, has a very interesting premise, but I want to see actual gameplay from the game. I want to see what the game is all about. A little teaser trailer doesn't really do much for me, but it's definitely on my radar. And Days Gone, I think, has a 50-50 chance of being either a really solid game or a really disappointing game. You know, it's that sort of zombie apocalypse thing. It has been done a bit to death, in my opinion, so I am kind of on the fence about it. I will need to see more stuff, but those are definitely two games that you should have in the back of your mind. So obviously the last game is going to be The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I did like The Last of Us. I liked it. I did not love it. I liked it. I thought it was a great game, but there were certain things that sort of held it back for me, in my personal opinion. I did not like the puzzle elements within the game. I felt the game was a bit too linear for its own good, but there were great aspects of the game that I could definitely play again and definitely respect. And as long as they take that ground formula for The Last of Us and expand upon it, make it a little bit less linear, make the puzzles more intricate than just something like a dumpster and a crate and a freaking ladder, because that was the whole elements of the puzzles in the original game, I think you have a very solid game on your hands. The online of The Last of Us was criminally underrated, I felt, and you know, to see a more expanded online experience with that multiplayer sort of thing, I think that would be awesome. I'm really keeping my eye on The Last of Us Part 2. I loved how dark and gritty the trailer was for the game, because it really showed that maybe they're taking this in an even more darker direction, a more gruesome and violent direction. And you know, honestly, I appreciate things like that. Video games to me are art. They should be held to the same standard that movies are. You could do pretty much anything in a movie. Why can't I do anything in a video game? So it's great to see The Last of Us taking this sort of darker direction, and I'm really interested to see what they do with the game. You know, I think the first game was a solid groundwork, and I think that the next game could potentially be an excellent game if they take on that groundwork and just build upon it. So I've definitely got my eye on The Last of Us Part 2, just like every PS4 owner does. Alright, and that is just a handful of games coming to the PS4 in 2018, the games that I probably have the highest on my radar for the year. There's of course a ton of great RPG games. There's of course Kingdom Hearts 3, which may come out in 2018. It may come out in 2027. Who knows at this point? But there are a ton of great games coming out on the PS4 that you guys should definitely know about, and these are just my picks of the best, in my opinion, the ones I'm going to definitely pick up on day one. Now, let me know in the comment section what games you're looking forward to on the PS4, and thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that like button, check out all the links in the description box down below. We got social media, websites, Patreon, t-shirts, all sorts of fun stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.
RGT NA5, RGT NA5. RGT NA5.